Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm glad you're here. I've been holding off sharing this, but I think it's time. Today's vlog is going to be a little bit heavier than usual because I want to talk about something that's been weighing on me for the past several months. It's not easy. And to be honest, it's hard even to find the right words sometimes. As some of you know, I was laid off in July 2024. After almost 19 years with the same company, I've shared bits and pieces of my journey along the way, but today I want to dive deeper into the personal impact of that's usually, what it's been like for me. Losing my job wasn't just a career shift. It felt like a personal loss. I didn't just lose my paycheck or my role within the company. I lost a part of my identity. For so long, I poured so much of my life, my time, my energy, my passion into that job. It became a huge part of who I was. I was defined by it. I was proud of it. I worked hard. I climbed the ladder. I was starting over from scratch, trying to rebuild not just my career, but my sense of self. In this vlog, I'm going to talk about that process, the identity crisis that comes with a layoff, the emotional toll that takes, and how I'm learning to redefine myself outside of the job that I lost. For everyone who's been through something similar, whether it's been 19 years or just a few, I hope you can relate to this. And maybe we can go through this journey together. Let's do it. Now, 19 years. That's a long time, isn't it? Long time to dedicate anyone to a company. Well, to make make it a central part of your life. And looking back, it's hard to feel like I gave so much of myself to that job. Too much, maybe. When you spend nearly 2 decades building a career around something, that's, it's natural to think that, it'll always be there, right? You get comfortable, you get accustomed to your routine. You identify with your role, your job title, your accomplishments, and the people you work with. But when that's suddenly taken away from you, it's like you've lost a huge part of yourself. The first few weeks after I got laid off, I couldn't really process it. I was numb. And even now, months later, I still find myself waking up to mornings and feeling like I'm still in a dream. A surreal feeling that it could be real. It wasn't just about not having a job. Is a loss of everything that I thought, I was. the job that defined me. It was my anchor. And now that I don't have that anymore, I've been forced to ask myself, who am I without it? That's been the hardest part. Realizing that I've tried so much of my self-worth into my job, I'm still struggling with it. Some days I feel like a failure. Like I let myself and my family down. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, you're not a failure. This happens to many people, and it's not a reflection of your worth as a person. And, I get it. Logically, I know that. I know that layoffs aren't personal and that circumstances change. But emotionally, that's a different story. When you're so used to thinking of yourself as an employee, when that's your identity and it's hard not to feel lost when it's taken away. In the weeks after I was laid off, I went through what I can only describe as an identity crisis. Who am I without my job? What value do I bring to the world if I'm not the person who gets up every day and puts on khakis and a collared shirt and and goes to work? And it's funny because I've heard people say for years, you're not your job. But it's not easy to disconnect. For those two things, when you've spent almost 2 decades in a building, your life around a career, it's ingrained in your mind. And when you lose that, it feels you're losing part of your identity. It's just not a job. It's your legacy. It's your purpose. Your reason for waking up every day. Beyond the identity crisis, there's the emotional toll. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Being laid off it's tough on my mental health. The stress, the feelings, the doubt, the isolation. It's been a lot to handle. Some days I feel like I'm just not good enough. It's like I'm not measuring up to what I used to be. I feel stuck. I feel like I'm in this endless cycle of searching, for new opportunities, but nothing seems to fit. And then there's the guilt. The guilt of not providing. I've always been the person who's taking care of things. I made decent money. My wife and I were very comfortable. Now it just feels I'm letting everyone down. I know that's not true. I know my family loves me and supports me. But the weight of not having a job, especially after so many years, can be overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed. There's just a lot of stuff going on in my head. Sometimes I feel like I'm not enough for my family, even though that I know that they are very supportive. I can feel the stress that they're under as well. When I believe both my wife and I were breadwinners in our relationship. I did make more, but that's besides the point. And it's not hard to feel that you're failing your spouse, your family, when you're unemployed. And that pressure combined with the pressure that I put myself to find something can sometimes feel too much to bear. But there's a part that I've been, trying to work through. And it's not easy. It's been a journey, a rediscovery. What I'm trying to realize is that I'm not just my job. I'm more than that. My job doesn't define me. I have been working on finding new resources, and new sources of purpose, fulfillment outside my career. For the first time in years, I've been able to take a step back and ask myself what I really want. Even though that I enjoyed what I was doing, I think it was I really enjoyed that. It was purpose. So what do I want from my life? Well, my family, my future. I've been always focused on work that I've forgotten to focus about me. I spent more time on things that nourish my soul, whether it's reconnecting with hobbies, spending more time with I got 2 dogs, or just taking a moment to breathe. It hasn't been easy, and I'm still figuring it out. But I've learned it's that rebuilding your identity after a layoff is possible. It takes time, and it requires a lot of self-compassion. It's about realizing that who you are is not defined by your job. It's all about finding the value in yourself, in the things that you're passionate about, in the relationship you have. I'm slowly learning to give myself that grace. Now, if you're watching this and you've been through a layoff, or you're currently struggling with job loss, I want you to hear me loud and clear. You are not defined by your job. Yes, I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. Your worth is not tied to your job. You have, it's not tied to the job you have, or the company you work for. Rebuilding after a layoff is hard. But it's also an opportunity. It's a chance to discover, parts of yourself you might have neglected. A chance to redefine your purpose and find a new meaning. I'm still working through it, but I'm taking it day by day. I know I'm not alone in this. And if you're going through this too, we're in this together. We are. Thank you so much for listening to this very personal vlog. If you're struggling, please know it's okay to be lost. It's okay to take your time, and it's okay to lean on others if you need to. I'll keep you updated on my journey as I continue to figure things out. And as always, if you're feeling the weight of a layoff or job loss, I'd really like to hear from you. Put your comments in below. Let's continue this conversation and support each other. Until next time, stay strong. And remember, you are more than your job.